Hello and welcome to the LSU Baseball Tournament Update brought to you by Hancock Whitney. I'm Patrick McGee, joined by Leah Vann. It's a big day. Last night was a big night. It could be even could be a huge Sunday in Omaha for LSU. Leah, just first of all, what's the buzz like kind of coming into the stadium day today? What's it been like the last couple of days in Omaha?
I think the one thing that stands out first is that it's extremely windy today. Wind is kind of changing direction here, so it can either work in the advantage, work in the disadvantage of whoever's batting. But as far as the buzz, like there's tailgates, there's a lot of purple and gold here. I feel like yesterday there was a huge influx of Louisiana people out here, and the Blatt, which is a bar right like across the street from the stadium, kind of overlooks the inside of the stadium. If you go to the rooftop, it is so packed that it looks like a bunch of sardines, and it's just purple and gold. And then people just buying up all the merchandise here. I mean, there's still substantially more Florida merchandise left than the LSU. So, it's definitely feels like Baton Rouge North, as people say.
Yeah, we may see a lot of discounted Florida stuff tonight if LSU wins this game. We already know who LSU is going with. If you would kind of tell us about that and how you think the lefty matches up against Florida.
Right, so they're going to start Nate Atkenhausen, who, as we all saw, he worked 6 innings against Tennessee. He allowed 4 hits, no earned runs, struck out 7, didn't walk a single guy, threw 93 pitches. So I'm trying to look. That was 5 days ago. So he's had ample rest, but it was his longest outing of the season. So Nate has always he's a JUCO transfer, so he kind of took the traditional route of a college baseball player, and he's a veteran, and he's very unfazed. He just kind of does his own thing, and he's got a fastball that a lot of guys have a really hard time hitting, just because it moves a lot. And then he also has a changeup that kind of operates like a heavy ball, so it's really hard for guys to put a lot of power behind it. And so he's really known for keeping hitters off balance. And I mean, Florida is a good team. They have a good lineup. They've been batting well against lefties this year. I mean, I'm looking at their lineups, and the batting averages for Caglione was 289 against lefties, Ty Evans 308, and then you go down the line to their Wyatt Langford should be on here somewhere. I will look at it. I thought I had it pulled up. And for some reason it's not here, but they're still batting 300 against lefties this year, so you can't say that that's a definitive advantage. But I do think that Nate Atkenhausen is kind of primed for this moment. And obviously LSU saw some success throwing Riley Cooper last night, so we know that they did struggle against one left-handed arm. But yeah, Nate Atkenhausen's been kind of a reliable reliever this entire season. He's making his second start here at the College World Series.
LSU is going up against Florida's right-hander Hurston Waldrop, who actually is a guy they faced in the postseason a year ago. No, not everybody in the LSU lineup will have seen him. But how do you see this playing out, just knowing what he has to offer?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he has a swing and miss rate of over 50% on his splitter, which is I guess a changeup, and it's got a weird grip. I was looking at what the Florida beat writer posted today. So that's something that I think really throws guys off. He threw last year in LSU's loss to Southern Miss, through 6 2/3 innings, 11 strikeouts, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks. That was on June 4th, 2022. Granted, you had a Jacob Berry, but this year you've got a Tommy White. Cade Beloso was not playing last year. Cade Beloso has been a hot bat this entire College World Series, as we saw last night. You didn't have a fully healthy Gavin Dugas last year. And Dylan Cruz is the same guy, but, he's improved hitting off speed, and he always manages to get on base, riding that, 72 game on base streak. So it's going to be interesting because with the wind blowing out today, especially with 30-mile-an-hour gusts, if they do get their bat on the ball, then it could carry. But at the same time, getting the bat on the ball is going to be really difficult against Hurston Waldrop. A lot of Florida people and even LSU people are kind of predicting a 3-game series because he is pitching today.
Right. But it also feels like LSU has the momentum right now. I mean, obviously they've got it felt like a home game for them last night in Omaha, which it usually does when LSU is playing there. Does it feel like combination of the momentum on the field and just all the support they've got there? It just feels like things are definitely in their favor at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I would walk into a game with the 1-0 advantage, feeling a lot more confident and feeling a lot safer and playing a little bit looser. Whereas, like, if you're playing with a disadvantage, you're kind of you're tighter, and managing those emotions is really what is going to test Florida today. LSU has done that very well. They've been playing within the do or die scenario for over a week now. Florida has not been put in that scenario at all. And so, LSU had to come back from behind with Wake Forest and beat them 3 times. And, Florida has not had to do something like that. They have not played with the disadvantage. So I think that's, that plays into that, really tests the mental game. And yeah, the crowd here, I mean, it was sold out last night. It was an incredible scene to see, just not a single empty seat in the stands, and a stadium that's so big, even bigger than Alec Box. And Alec Box is loud because it's so slow and it encompasses here, but it was loud here last night, even in a bigger ballpark. So, but again, there's a reason why they're here, right? And they saw this situation in their own regional. They faced elimination after losing to Texas Tech. So I'm sure that they can draw on that experience too and play their hearts out.
I guess the only negative that you take out last night's game is they just left so many guys on base. And I guess at times this season, that's kind of been the one thing that kind of slowed them down, is they just didn't have the hits in the clutch. Do you see that as a blip on the radar, or is that something that, against the guy that has the stuff that, say, Hurston Waldrop does, they just have to deliver whenever they get the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I still see it as an issue. I see it as something that could, bite them or come back to haunt them today if it happens again. There's some that you can chop up to bad luck, the Tommy Wyatt line drive with, bases loaded and it was caught. It was just a good play. But then some of it, you're kind of you got to get some of these guys who haven't been batting as well in Omaha, like a Jordan Thompson or a Josh Pearson, to come through with a couple of clutch hits there, because you're loading the bases. And then you've got these guys coming up to the plate and they're not really coming through for you. So, and I'm looking at the lineup, which we just received, and it looks like Hayden Travinski is back in it. So that will probably help the bats a little bit but Alex Milazzo has had 3 hits in this tournament, which is pretty good for the amount of time that he's been playing. So, I still see it as a glaring issue. LSU should have put the game away last night in the 3rd inning. And, kudos to them for coming through with the clutch in the 11th inning. But, they've done that twice now, and I don't know how many times you can play that game.
Yeah. How are they stacked up behind Atkenhausen? Are they in pretty good shape in the bullpen coming in?
Yeah. So, I mean, LSU only used Ty Floyd and Riley Cooper last night, and so that rests a lot of guys. I'm kind of thinking, and I wonder if Thatcher Hurd might be available. He could be, but I know that Gavin Guidry is available. Riley Cooper is probably available because he seems to always be available. Griffin Herring, that's a guy that was really clutch for LSU the other day, and depending on, how they view, I think depending on how the game plays out and how they view it, they're either going to try to put it away, or, if they see that it get down to a big deficit, they're like, okay, maybe we save these guys for tomorrow. Right. But Jay Johnson is the kind of guy who's like, no, I want to win now. And so we saw that against Wake Forest. We've seen that time and time again in the regional and the super regional. So, yeah, I mean, I think they still have a good amount of guys in the bullpen. You even have a Blake Money, which we've only seen once. And we haven't seen Sam Dutton. We haven't seen Bryce Collins, but I don't see them throwing those guys right now. I think that's only kind of a last resort situation. But Griffin Herring, Gavin Guidry, Thatcher Hurd, Riley Cooper, those guys should all be available to help.
Okay, Leah, great stuff. If we have a Game 3, we'll be again live with LSU Baseball Tournament Update, brought to you by Hancock Whitney. We'll be back here tomorrow, but this may be it. So I appreciate both you, Leah, and Wilson, pitching in and taking part this week. And hope everything goes well today. And I'm just hoping for just 9 innings. If we could avoid 11, 12, that would be great.
I would just like to go home.
It's been Omaha's great, but it runs on whenever your team it gets to this point of the postseason.
Definitely. Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.